Hi BookTube, it's Missy, and today I will be doing my August wrap-up just a tad early. I've been in a reading slump. If you guys remember, in July I participated in 3 read-a-thons. So we did the A Year-a-thon read-a-thon, and I did an underhyped read-a-thon, and then I did the BookTube-a-thon was also in July. So that was 3 read-a-thons in a row that I participated in, and I read I think 21 books last month, which is a ton. And then this month I participated in the A Year-a-thon read-a-thon the first week of August, which was middle grade books, and I read 8 books during that time, and I was rocking it. And then the last 3 weeks I just could not for the life of me get into reading, and so I basically just watched YouTube videos all day long. Anyways, let's get started with the books that I have read. Now, because I have already done a video wrap-up and review on the read-a-thon books for the Year-a-thon read-a-thon, I'm just going to show you the books, and then I will get to the other ones. So first off, I read A Wrinkle in Time, the graphic novel adapted by Hope Larson. The original is Madeline Langles. I really enjoyed this book. Again, I will leave the link down below for the video and book reviews that I did at the beginning of the month. I also read The Bad Beginnings, which is the first book in the Unfortunate Events series by Lemony Snicket. I loved this series. This book got me really upset just because I didn't know what to expect, since I didn't know anything about this series, and I didn't realize how horrible Count Olaf was. But I did enjoy it. The next book is The Reptile Room. Again, another good book that I loved this one. It was pretty funny. And then we get to The Wide Window. This was my favorite out of the 4 that I read at the beginning of the month. I enjoyed that one. And then the 4th book is The Miserable Mill. This one was kind of slow for me. Count Olaf and his trickery didn't start until towards the end of the book, and so it was really boring until the climax. And but that was the 4th one. And I think there's 13 in the series, so I am looking forward to reading. Alright, the next books that I read in the Year-a-thon read-a-thon was a graphic novel that I got from NetGalley. I also read The 14th Goldfish on my Kindle, Jennifer Holm. I really liked it. All of the information will be down in the doobly-doo. Alright, the second week of August I read 2 Kindle books that I also got from NetGalley, and it was Of Monsters and Men by Jessica Verde, which I absolutely loved because I am a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, and the book was not a retelling, but it incorporated Edgar Allan Poe and one of his famous characters, which is Annabelle Lee, and they kind of have a love thing going on in the book. There's also certain lines from The Telltale Heart and a couple lines from the Annabelle Lee poem, and so it's really good, and there's a nice little twist along the book as well. If you want to know more, I will leave my Goodreads review down below. I also read Amity. It was a retelling of the Amityville house horror story, mixed in with a little bit of weird paranormal. It has 2 characters in it. There's Connor and Gwen, and they both have something weird about them, or they've had to have therapy for it. Connor has like anger management issues, and he's slightly a psychopath. And then there is Gwen, who is people believe that she's crazy, but she's got some kind of magical powers or paranormal. She can do things with her mind, and so that intertwines, and there's a bit of a mix up in there's books in this book. There's book 1, book 2, book 3, book 4. Book 3 was very confusing because both of the characters meet, but they're from different times, and so I was totally confused. So I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars, only because I just couldn't understand what was going on. So yeah, again, my review will be down in the description bar. Alright, the third week of August was the Bout of Books 11.0. I didn't do a wrap-up for this week because I'm doing it now. I didn't read very much, and I was planning on reading a lot of my TBR picks that I chose at the beginning of the month, and I was in a total book slump, and I got through 6 graphic novels, which is nice, but we all know graphic novels, if we were to count them, it would be like a half a book. I mean, it is what it is. There's lots of pictures, and so we're not really reading. But I will start with the books that I did read. In Real Life by Cory Doctorow and Jen Wang. This is a book about a girl who is asked to join this guild on an MMO, kind of like World of Warcraft, and it's supposed to be like a self-esteem build-up. But what the book really is about is economics and how we deal with it in our society between America and China, and what their ethics are in the workforce. It was colorful. I did enjoy the story. As you can see here, it's funny. I'll leave the Goodreads link down below for my review for this book. It's hard for me to talk about it because I haven't read it in a few weeks, but again, it's like putting zucchini in cookies. It was a great story, but the underlining effect was that it was really about economics. The next book that I read was Saga Volume 1 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. Everybody knows about this one. This is an adult graphic novel. There are boobies in it and some naked time fun. And so, you know, younger readers should probably not read this book. But the storyline is great. I really like it. It's a star-crossed lovers kind of thing. There's 2 alien races, the horns and the wings. They've been fighting forever. And these 2 fall in love, make a baby. Her name is Hazel. And they're trying to escape while both sides of the parties are trying to kill them. I cannot wait for Volume 2. And actually, I will be getting it on Thursday when the bookmobile comes back to my town, because it's there waiting for me. So excited to continue on with the series. The third book that I read during Bout of Books is This One Summer by Jillian and Mariko Tamaki. I loved the illustrations. Let me kind of find a good one. Well, so she's sitting here reading, as you can see, and it's just like, it's so detailed. I mean, you can see stuff underneath her bed. She's got like a shirt. I mean, it's so, not only is it detailed, but it's so realistic on a young girl's room. You know, the girl in here is 12 and she's on a summer vacation, and it was 2 stories in one. The first half of the story is about 2 girls who are hanging out. They see each other every single summer since she was 5. And they're just going about, you know, their summer playing and, you know, doing girly things. Painting nails, listening to music, going to the beach, swimming, blah, blah, blah. The second half of the book is about a teenager who's pregnant and how that affects the main character. And then there's some emotional turmoil in her family, and you don't find out why her mom is so depressed until the end. So it's considered a coming-of-age story, but in my opinion, it was kind of just blah. If you are to pick up this book, I would definitely do so just for the pictures alone. The story was mediocre at best. I liked the pictures a lot. I think I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Alright, and then the very last graphic novels that I read during the Bout of Books was Amulet, number 5, Prince of Elves, and oh, this one was so much better than book 4. I did enjoy it greatly. They have to deal with Max again, and then I can't, talk about the book because those that haven't read Amulet yet will be spoiled. I've been reading this since January, and I do enjoy it. And the cool thing about this book is on NetGalley they have a rough draft of book 6, which I was able to get, and I'm so excited. Thank you very much, NetGalley, for letting me download the e-arc. So the first 52 pages are in beautiful color. Everything's illustrated like it's supposed to. Stupid ice cream truck. And the other half of the book is just in the black and white, really roughly drawn. But it was still epic. It was great. I am loving how the story is moving along, where it's getting to. It is very, very good. Oh, I missed a book. There was another book from NetGalley that I was able to download, and that is Orphan Blade. It's about a boy named Hadashi who is learning to be, I don't know if it's a ninja or whatever, but he's an orphan. He lives at a dojo, and he gets in trouble a lot. One day, he's, supposed to be doing something, and he gets his fingers bitten off by
this crazy morphed frog thing, and you'll understand if you read the book, but there was a plague of sorts, and it transformed all of the beasts in the area into, what are they called? What are they called?
Units.
No. You know, like the Ninja Turtles?
Mutants.
Yes! It's in the damn name.
Alright, so this plague thing came and mutated a lot of the wildlife. So, he gets kicked out because he can't hold a sword anymore. He ends up living with these riffraffs, and then he finds this magical sword. And the book was really good because you get to see how the magical sword works and how it's like trying to protect this orphan kid, but then it's got ideas of its own that it wants to be super powerful, and then the kid just kind of goes with it and like lets the sword dictate what he's going to be doing. But then the end was really rushed up, and then it was done. Like the last 50 pages or so, it just seemed like they were running out of time, and then so they just stopped the book. I don't know if it's going to have a sequel, and that's why it was roughly ended, so that way they could continue the story, or if that was just it. They didn't have anything else to say. It was very convenient how it was wrapped up, and everybody was happy, and they were friends again, and I don't know. Anyways, I think I gave that one maybe a 3 out of 5 stars. I can't remember. So, overall, I read 16 books this month. That's 8 novels and then 8 graphic novels. And then I started a bunch of books. So, I will show you the books that I started. So, I did start The Girl Who Circumnavigated Fairyland in a Ship of Her Own Making by Catherine Valente. I got 90 pages in. After reading all of the middle grade books before, at the beginning of the month, I was able to actually finally get into this book, but then I put it down because I was starting to read the other one. So I do want to finish this, and as you can see, here is number 2 and 3 in the trilogy, so I do want to get to it at some point in time. And then during the week where I didn't have a read-a-thon, which I read the Of Monsters, Endman, and Amity, I started Fiendish by Brianna, is it Brianna? Brianna Jovanoff, and she writes standalones creepy standalones, and she's such a good writer. But I just couldn't get into this when I was reading it for some reason, and I won this in a giveaway from Goodreads. It came out on August 16th, so I wanted to have it finished and read by then so I could review it for you guys, but then I just never was able to continue on. I got to page 43. It's about a girl who is cursed, and I don't know if this is the particular house from the book itself, but she's cursed, and she wakes up years later, like 20 years later, and some people let her out of the curse, but it has to do with like voodoo and witches, and because I'm only on page 43, I don't know what all else happens. Where does it? But it does happen in the South, so it sounds really good, and I'm still going to continue reading it. I'm really enjoying it so far. So there's that. And then during the bout of books, I wanted to read The Missing Girl, so I picked this one up. I got to page 24, which is nothing, but this is about 5 girls, 5 sisters, who are all in different stages of puberty, and then a creepy man who likes to watch them. So I don't know if this is like a pedophile book or something. I mean, it is called The Missing Girl, so maybe he steals one of the sisters and then something happens after that. But there's a point in the story, because it's in different points of view, where the little sister Autumn starts talking, and her voice is so annoying, like most.
I don't want to offend any parents out there, but talking to children can be obnoxious. They take forever to spit out their stories, and there's lots of ums and like pauses where they're still trying to think about what they were going to say, and it's like, just think about what you're going to say before you even talk to me or tell me a story.
And that's kind of like how it is when you're reading Autumn's point of view. She just talks little, and it's hard to get into what she's saying. It's like, even though the pedophile is the bad guy, I would rather hear the entire story in his voice, because at least it's an adult and it makes sense. So I am going to continue with this book, just I have lots of books that I am still currently reading, so I don't know when I'm going to finish this, but I will. Alright, the next book that I read is The Edge of the Water by Elizabeth George. This is the sequel to The Edge of Nowhere, and in this book it takes place a couple months after Becca arrives at the island, and so far so good. I am on page 64, but because I'm still, you know, chugging along on all these books, it's going to take me a while to finish and read. And this is a library book, so I do have to turn it in at some point. So I do want to finish that. And then,
Red Glove. How long have I been on this book, people? I've been on this book 4 months. I just hit renew again for the library because this was due on Thursday. This is the 6th time I borrowed this book, and I am only on page 116. I know a lot of people love Holly Black, but I consider her not a very exciting writer. Everything that she writes is like, it goes slowly through the process of telling the story, and at some points it can be, you know, exciting, and you're like, ooh, this is getting really good. But I don't want to read stories where it takes almost the entire book before it starts getting good. And I think Holly Black is one of those kinds of writers for me personally. I did read Oldest Girl in Coal Town, and it was a good story, but it wasn't my favorite. And I did read Dull Bones. Again, it was a good story, but it wasn't my favorite. I read White Cat, and it was good again. You know, and this one is just, I'm hating this. It's just taking me so long. I should be able to put down a book, and then pick it up, and then continue on with the book without having to put it down every page or two, and just be completely bored. And I am completely bored. I don't like the main character. I don't like where this is going. The mafia thing should be really exciting, and it's not. And because I'm one of those people who have to continue and finish series, I'm going to continue reading this one, but I don't know when I'm going to get to Blackheart, because I don't really like this series or this trilogy.
And so, yes, there's that. And the very last book that I am currently reading is The Farm by Emily McKay. And this book is about a girl and her sister. It's Lily and her twin sister Mel. They are both stuck in a camp or farm where they have to give daily blood to some kind of blood bank to serve the purpose of feeding the vampires or the ticks that have taken over. I don't know if it's the world or just their country, the United States, whatever. But vampires have taken over, and these farms are strictly for teenagers because vampires enjoy their blood more because of the hormones. I don't know what that means, but they enjoy excited blood. But by the time these kids reach 18, they're kicked out of the farms and no longer protected. And I don't know if they just die immediately. They haven't gotten to that part of the book yet. And this is only book 1. I can't remember if this has 3, if this is a trilogy or duology or whatever. But so far, so good. It's a dystopian, and so there's lots of really sad teenagers walking around wishing life was better. And so there's that. So I have all of these books that I'm still currently reading, which is a ton, and then I read the 16 books for this month. And that's my wrap up. I want to know what you guys read in August. How did you do? Did you read everything that you wanted to read? I know I didn't. And what do you do when you are in a reading slump? How do you get out of it? Because I just want to get back in the groove, especially since September is in 2 days, and I want to do better in September. Let me know down below. I will leave all of my links for videos and reviews and all that jazz down in the description box. And I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. I will talk to you soon. Bye!